time. So there's a pressure to come up to the mark. That's a pressure in itself. And even Capaldi, I know, they're all friends, so it's nerve-wracking. Will I be okay? Look at all those great people that went before me. So you can't help it. Worry about that. But of course, you find your feet, and in a while you kind of make it your own. At least that's the plan. I think talking to Peter Capaldi, I think, because it's early days for him, so he'll be under that kind of pressure right now. But I have every faith in him. I think, and I've said this before, Capaldi's going to be the best, eventually the best doctor we've had. I think that's what I think. The combination of things that he can do, things that he has, the kind of gravitas that he carries, I think he'll be the best. He's my bet anyway. For the second part of your question about being an actor, I'd say if you can train to do it. One of my sons wants to be an actor now, and I've insisted with him that he at least thinks about training. Only because it gives you that 2 or 3 years to decide if you really, really want to do it. Because acting is a precarious thing to want to do. And I personally believe that for actors, if you want to be an actor, it's only the people that cannot possibly be stopped, dissuaded from doing it, should be doing it. I think that's the minimum requirement. It's too hard otherwise, as a profession. If you go into it for silly reasons, spurious reasons, I want to be famous, I want to make some money, don't do it. Don't do it, because you'll just get a kicking. It won't happen for you. But and also, I think about being an actor, you're always getting rejected. It's like it's a daily thing, it's a weekly thing. So, and it kind of gives the lie to the idea that the actors are kind of egomaniacs and idiots. They're not generally. They tend to be actually people who are actually quite used to being rejected, ignored, passed over, and then when you do get work, having to work in companies, they're collaborative. That's the way it has to be. So they tend to be good people, good workers. That's what I would say. But if you train, it gives you a little bit of time to get a proper look at it. That's what I would say, anyway. That's my advice.
Okay. Brian, that's right here. Oh, behind you, sorry.
Oh.
No, okay, That's, yeah.
Can someone run it close up to us?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. A little bit
We're getting some spill.
It's okay, just speak up a little bit. You're good.
Including only what we know about him so far, who's your favorite doctor?
My favorite doctor? He's magnificent. You know what? There's a lot. I think it's often the first one. When I meet people at things like this, then people are often happy to say, "You're my first doctor," and it matters. I think the first one that gets you into it. And when I was a kid, the first one was the first one for me. Bill Hartman. That dates me, doesn't it? That shows you. But in the '60s, he was the first doctor. And we're living in an age now where you can. The internet's great because now you can see these original 50-year-old episodes of this guy. I just thought he was great. And he's got a bit of that. Talking about Capaldi, Peter's got what he has got. I think he's got a little bit of that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of weird seriousness.
The rough.
Yeah.
But sassy.
But it's a gravity. Yeah. There's a gravity.
Yeah.
There's something going on as well behind the seriousness. But for me, it was William Hartnell because that was my first one. And in those days when we were kids, it sounds. Well, I'm an old man now, so. But believe me, when we were little, we had 3 TV channels. Was it the same here?
Yeah.
Or you always had 60 channels? Was it the same here?
No, it was 3. Yeah.
Was it 3? I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, everybody watched everything. So you just watched whatever was on. You come home from school in those days when we were kids, and Doctor Who was on at about 6:37. So you eating your supper, and it was on. So even if you weren't a fan, you still saw it. Everybody saw it. You talk about it at school, and he was the one. But the weird thing is, I'm not banging on about age. I'm now older than he was then when he made it.
Yeah.
And
So
which is
is
so
it
weird to think,
Capaldi
isn't it?
is too.
Capaldi is
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Mhm.
When Bill Hartnell did it, he was 52,
Yeah.
but he had this
Yeah.
long white wig. And in those days, like, if you were in your 50s in those days, you could look like an old
You
person.
look like an old
Yeah.
person, yeah.
So weird. Now 50s like in late adolescence. Folks, believe me. It is new 25. Yeah.
Woman in the yellow scarf right there. Yeah.
I'm not madly familiar with any in particular, but what interests me about the novels was reading about the novels. Like, for example, I was interested to read, because I'm jet lagged, I've forgotten his name. Who ran it before Moffat? It was
RTD, Russell T. Davies.
Russell T. Davies. Now,
Yeah.
Russell T. Davies wrote this article, which I read recently, about in some of them, because he loves the novels, Russell T. And of course, he probably wrote a few. But he describes the alternative histories that actually make up some of the novels. The thing in particular of, say, the Time War. You know, the novels read like novels.
They are. Some
Like
of them
any,
are very
some of them
strange,
are,
too.
some of them have different histories.
Yeah.
And this article that I read by Russell T was saying, well, you know what? It's all allowed. You know, there's nothing. You shouldn't be so strict. You know, to just say no, I can't read that because that's that goes against what I know to be this timeline or that. You know, they're all a part of it. And I was interested to read that. But no, I've never actually sat down and read one of the novels and finished from start to finish. You know why? Because I'm such a slow reader.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just like to absorb, like take your time.
Yeah, no, I read. My wife reckoned, who is a writer, reckoned that I must read about the speed that the author writes at. And she's one of those people that can speed read. My big brothers are saying, like you see them reading a book, and all they seem to be doing is turning pages.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really reading it. You're not actually reading it. And my big brother goes, yeah, go on, test me. And he's read every single word. Whereas, I don't know, I get stuck on paragraphs or a page and I have to reread it.
Right.
So when we were talking about Gatsby before, I've been reading The Great Gatsby for about 25 years. Don't tell me the end, I don't even know what happened to the end. Yeah, so.
Guy in the hat with the goggles back there. Yep.
I was going to ask how, in one of the audio dramas, your son played the doctor's grandson.
Yeah, so we did.
Yeah, is that weird for you at all?